Welcome to the Sports Council.
I think the whole journey has been a highlight. Being kind of a Washington kid, going to a Washington school, I think that was amazing. And now kind of transferring all the way across the country to Orlando, it's definitely different, but I still have so much support back home, so I love that part about it.
The council is now in session.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Hi, my name is Summer Yates. I am a professional soccer player for Orlando Pride.
And you graduated from Chiawana High School. You're back in the building.
Yeah.
You haven't been back that much, so what's it like being in the hallways of Chiawana?
Oh, it's amazing. I think this school just brings me so much joy because of all the support I had here. So just being back is amazing.
Yeah, and going from Chiawana to UW, now to Orlando, what's the highlight for you, Ben?
I think the whole journey has been a highlight. I think I came from this area which a lot of people are striving to go to the collegiate level, so I think that was a big stepping stone in my journey. And then as I got to UW and being able to perform how I did at UW, I think that was amazing. And just the amount of support I had in Washington State as a whole, just being kind of a Washington kid, going to a Washington school, I think that was amazing. And now kind of transferring all the way across the country to Orlando, it's definitely different, but I still have so much support back home, so I love that part about it.
Yeah, we talked about this the last time that we talked, of being from a small town, people don't really have high expectations of you, but to go into college and get the accolades that you did there, what accolade are you most proud of? What award are you most proud of?
Let's see. Probably my All-American my sophomore year. That was a really big goal that I had when I was a kid, and I've always wanted to be an All-American. So I think that was really cool, and also my team made it to the Sweet 16 that year, so I think that was a really big accomplishment also. So yeah, just overall that.
And then after that, that's when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
That was a crazy time. What was it like being a Division I player where everything is so calculated? Your whole life is so calculated between classes and that too. Nobody in the world knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So how did you mitigate that or find your way through the pandemic?
Yeah, I think, for all of us, it was a shock. They just sent us home, and we were like, what do we do now? But I think I took what I had. I grew up training myself with my dad, so I think I already had the tools in my toolbox to perform at an individual level and kind of in the quarantine environment. So being able to just do the things that I already knew how to do was very helpful for me. And then obviously class online, it was different. We had team meetings online, everything was online. So just kind of getting used to everything. For me, I was lucky that I actually had a space where I could go train and stuff like that, where I know a lot of kids didn't. But I think, just having the already tools that I had really helped me through.
Being a self-starter,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
You're like, nothing changed
Yeah.
just because nobody's telling me what to do. You've
Yeah.
never been that type of person.
Yeah.
I love that. And with everything, when you're little, you want to be a college soccer player. Then once you're in college, it's a whole different level of seeing it as a profession, because I think you can talk to almost every professional athlete and they love the game, and it's a little bit different when it's your job. So when did you start seeing your passion of soccer to what you wanted to do as a job?
Yeah, I think at a young age I kind of my family really believed in me, so that was like a big thing for me. Like, obviously my parents used to make me write down goals that I had, and I was like, I want to be on the national team, I want to play pro, I want to go to college, like, and I wrote all these goals down. For now, like, actually achieving those goals, like, that's been amazing. And I think in college, like, I kind of knew, like, going into college, like, I'm preparing for, like, my career. I love soccer. I want to keep doing this after college, so that was always never, like, a thought after college to, like, not go play pro. It's always been, I want to go play pro. So I think going through college, that was a huge motivator to, like, keep improving myself, because I knew, like, the draft was coming right after my 5th year, and that everything else that was coming, and I felt pretty prepared, so I think that was great.
You've always seen yourself as a professional.
Yeah, that's always been the goal since I started when I was little. My parents always told me to dream high, and I put the highest goal I could. So still reaching to get some other goals, but yeah, I always wanted to play professionally.
You can't get there if you don't take one day at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
Turning a negative into a positive, before I forget, something that really struck me is people see a negative of being from a small town.
Yeah.
But in your case, like you said, it was a positive. That's really cool. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think coming from a small town, the support system that you have, everyone pretty much knows everyone. So, like, everyone's following your journey. I think that's amazing. It's a motivating factor that you want to perform for not only yourself and your family, but like for the people that supported you back in your hometown. So I think that was always a motivating factor for me. And like, I went to school for education, so I want to come back and like share my knowledge to the people that supported me and their kids one day. So I think that's always just been motivating. But like, at times, yeah, there's adversity. Coming from a small town, you have less opportunities and less training facilities and top-notch coaches, but you can always find an out in anything you do. That's how I always thought about it. And we're getting some great trainers here now and stuff, so I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, and speaking of great trainers here, it was funny, we were having a conversation with your current trainer now while you're in town, Steve Whitehead, and he was saying having your dad as your coach/trainer growing up, it's not normal to put that high of a caliber. That's why you are where you are, is because you had that mindset and you had that professional mindset at a very young age, and you got scrutiny for it. So just talk about that, because that's a tough place to be, where you're finding yourself, you're coming into your own, and you have thoughts. So just getting that scrutiny, how did you perceive it, or how did you deal with it on your path?
Yeah, I think obviously having your dad as a coach is never the easiest thing. It's always really going to be hard, but I'm lucky that my dad invested in me the way that he did. He spent countless hours for years training me, doing the same drills over and over and over, but that's just because he believed in me. He knew if I trained at that level and how hard I trained, and if I really believed in myself, that I could go anywhere I wanted to. So I think just having a dad that actually pushed me to that. It wasn't fun at times, it wasn't pretty, and a lot of people didn't like it because it's out of the ordinary. They're not used to seeing a dad push their daughter that hard, and for a lot of people it's not normal. They think, oh, you should be giving your daughter care and not pushing her that hard. But for me, that's what I needed. I needed someone, especially in this smaller town, to push me to my limits so I can grow as a player. So I think that was the biggest thing that helped me, and if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be able to play at the level that I did. I mean, he drove me to Seattle every weekend. My mom and him, they made a crazy amount of sacrifices for me to play at the level I did. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a tough line. It's funny because you're oh, you should be showering your kids, or but there's a fine line, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, or kind of speak to the fact that it's coming from love as well as trust, that you're trusting his process to get you there. And at the end of the day, there's a line between love and performance don't really combine.
Yeah, that's always a goal. Sometimes arguments happen. I mean, training happens and it's high tensions. Me and my dad are both high tension people. Kind of get at it once in a while, but that tends to happen when you're training and you spend that many hours with each other. So obviously there was tension there, but looking back on it, I couldn't change it. I wouldn't change it, and that's made me the player I am. And even my coaches at Orlando are like, "You're so technical. How'd you get technical when you didn't have a team to play with?" And I was like, I did the same drill over and over and over. And the drills that my dad and myself learned through watching film, watching other teams, watching other players. So me and my dad were both learning through the whole thing. He wasn't a soccer player by any means. He was a football player. So kind of having that same football mentality brought into soccer really elevated my game.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of, being hot-headed and stuff, you have to be in the game of soccer, and I feel like that's what helped you be that dog. I guess that's a Washington reference as well. What is your favorite part of the game?
I think just for me, I love being creative. I love just like expressing myself through my play. I'm known to be more of a dribbler, so dribbling definitely, and taking people on 1v1, just learning my challenges, facing someone up, scoring goals obviously is fun. But yeah, I think just showing my creativity and my style of play, it's pretty unique compared to a lot of other players, so I like to show that a lot in my style.
Yeah, I think I saw a highlight of you where you're dribbling, you ended up getting hacked in the box, and then you scored the PK, but it was your dribbling that even got you there, and it's just really fun to watch you play. I wish I had been here to cover you in high school.
Yeah.
A lot of great things about your play, but what would you say your strengths are?
I think my composure is one thing. I tend to be more of the calm player on the field. I'm not usually the one screaming at everyone, so I keep my composure. I think that's a strength of mine. I think my quickness is also a strength. I'm pretty quick side to side, and my dribbling ability, that helps. But yeah, I think those are the main things that I would say make who I am as a player.
And when it comes to being drafted, women's sports or soccer especially, it's not really in the public eye as much as, the NFL. So walk me through a little bit. What was the process like being drafted, talking to teams? What does that look like in the soccer world?
Yeah, it's compared to a lot of sports. It's pretty similar in a way. Definitely a lot of phone calls. Once your season ends, it's all draft. So everything you do is you're building highlight tapes, you're filling out your waivers to get into the draft, you're talking with your coaches about these talks that you're going to have with all these other professional coaches, what kind of questions they're going to ask, and just being prepared to answer those questions to the best of your ability. And finding an agent, I had to find an agent to get into the draft and everything else. So it's definitely a lot of moving pieces, but it's very similar to how other sports do their drafts. It's a little smaller than a lot of NFL drafting 100 guys. It's only goes up to 48 right now. So it's, this past year 500 girls entered and only 48 went. So that just shows kind of the competition just to get into the draft and whatnot.
Yeah, and with that being said, soccer has changed so much.
Yeah.
I'm a little older than you, but I remember growing up watching the WUSA, and at some points when you were playing, there wasn't that women's professional arena.
Mm-hmm.
How is it just seeing where it's come from, it being on the fringes to non-existent to now you're having drafts, and then even, Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes, they put money, that you have these people that truly care about women's sports and soccer.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just seeing how, even since I've gotten there, just seeing the growth in attendance and our facilities and just the support that we have has been amazing. Talking to a lot of my veteran teammates, talking about they would get $10,000 for a contract, which is insane, and they wouldn't be getting paid properly. There would hardly be anyone at their games, to now we're selling out stadiums and getting a good pay, and just kind of, it's always been on the up, and even in our salaries every year it's going up, and the attendance is going up and up. So very hopeful for women's sports, and I think soccer is like definitely one of the bigger women's sports, especially in the U.S. So I think that's really cool just to be a part of and to start my journey at the upping
yeah,
of it
now
all.
is a great time
Yeah,
because there's some great documentaries out there,
Yeah.
but I think it was the national team in a documentary I watched that those players were only making, I think it was like $26,000
Yeah.
a year, so they had to come from rich families or have somebody
Yeah.
sponsor them
Yeah.
just for the opportunity
Yeah.
to play on the national level. I mean,
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like women see it, but only if you're kind of in the
Yeah,
arena.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I love where
Yeah.
women's sports are going,
Yeah.
especially women's soccer.
Yeah.
And to those looking to get into college, I guess what recruiting tips? There's a lot of young soccer players out there. What tips would you give them for recruiting?
Yeah, I think just getting your name out there any way you can. Don't be afraid to email coaches, ask them to come watch you play, send your film. Just be kind of annoying. You kind of have to. Just like get your name out there and the best you can. And yeah, I think the rest, if you're playing like what you're doing, like I think the rest will follow. A big thing also is like I think coaches look at you as a soccer player, but they also look at you as a person. So definitely like social media and like things you post, and that's all looked at. Everything is looked at behind you. So I think just being aware of that is a big thing also.
Seeing it as a profession
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
just a hobby.
Yeah,
Or,
exactly.
Having it be your part of your
Yeah.
identity, I think is a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Yeah.
And when you come back to town, what do you do? What are some of your favorite things to do in the Tri-Cities?
Oh, in the Tri-Cities. Depends if it's hot or cold. But, I mean, my favorite thing is obviously seeing family, seeing friends, and just spending time with them, especially now that my season's so long. I only get a short amount of time home, so just seeing them is obviously amazing. We have some great local restaurants, so always check those out. Summertime, I love to be out on the river. It's my favorite thing to do when I come back, but yeah, just seeing everyone in here is just, it brings so much joy to me. I think everyone is so friendly and nice here, and a lot of people know who I am now here, so it's always nice to see people and say hi and just thank them for supporting me. So
Yeah, how does it feel to be a local celebrity?
not a celebrity yet.
And when you said that there's a lot of great restaurants, where are your favorite places to eat out here?
In Pasco, we don't got too much, but we're on the up. It's kind of weird, but I love Applebee's. I don't know why, but I love Applebee's. I think anywhere in like West Richland's good. My dad's always kind of the foodie that takes me out places. We like proof a lot. But yeah, I haven't really gone out much since I've been on a little nutrition thing lately for the off season, so I haven't really got out the house much.
The good thing is that there are Applebee's in Orlando.
Yeah. It's not the same as Pasco, I swear.
Maybe they do something different. And how are you liking Orlando? Like you said, you went to school at Chiawana and Pasco, then you went to UW in Seattle, still in Washington, and now you're all the way across the country in a different time zone. So how are you liking Florida?
I actually love Florida. I was surprised. I thought I would hate it, but I think it makes it nice because I have such a good team. I loved all the girls right when I got there, the coaching staff. And obviously I get to play with like my idol since I was a kid, Marta. She's still there. So just meeting her and getting to learn from her has been amazing. But yeah, I think Florida overall, like I love where I live there and the weather's obviously nice. So I think, yeah, I love every part about it. I can't wait to be back.
And who are you close with on the team? I mean, obviously teams are usually pretty close, but who are kind of the people that you clicked with right away?
Yeah, I think it was nice because we had a really big rookie class. We had about 5 girls come in and we got super close right away. Just we're both trying to learn, or all of us are just trying to learn through everything together. So our whole rookie class, probably Messiah Bright, Emily Madrill, yeah, those are like my closest friends. we're just learning together about how to be a rookie and how to be a pro. So I think we got automatically close through that.
Yeah, you guys are kind of walking the same path and helping each other along it.
Yeah.
And maybe you kind of answered my next question already, but growing up, who was your idol?
Yeah, my idol was definitely Marta and Messi. So it's when I got drafted, that was my first thought. I was like, wow, I get to play with Marta. Like that's going to be so cool. And she plays the same position. I kind of like inspired my game around how she plays. So it's been amazing just seeing like how she trains every day, what she does every day. So and just kind of trying to follow, being the little kid trying to follow her around. But it's been amazing.
What was it like meeting her for the first time?
She's so down to earth. She was like introduced herself, and I'm like, I know who you are. But it was I was a little fangirl when I first met her. But she's so down to earth, just like any other person. Gives great advice, and is just there for anyone. So I think that was like the greatest thing to see, that she doesn't keep herself at like the celebrity level. She's like, I'm just like everyone else. I'm another teammate. So I think that was amazing. Yeah.
Talk about the coaching staff over there, that relationship.
Yeah, they're amazing. I think my favorite thing is that they believed in me from day one. They obviously drafted me, but they knew my rookie year was going to be a transition year, and they believed in me and they believed in my skill set, and they definitely pushed me. They're a younger staff and a newer staff, so they both played professionally. So it's cool to have like their soccer knowledge and them show through like their game and stuff to us. But yeah, they're very supportive, and I really enjoy like being coached by them.
And everybody in the Tri-Cities, I mean, when you got drafted and also throughout your career at UW, it's everybody around here is always like, go Summer.
Yeah.
And just talk about the support that you receive from the Tri-Cities and what that means to you.
It just means the world to me. Like just seeing teachers out there and just walking around, like they don't know how much of an impact they had on me, allowing me to get through school. They were so supportive with my homework when I was gone for months on end. My athletic director that literally helped me set up anything I could to help me perform outside of school and anything else. Trainers, just locals in general. I think they don't really realize the impact they have on me and like how much I strive to do great things for this community and stuff like that. But the support I'm just like so grateful for. And yeah, just being from a small town and having that support is just unreal.
And a lot of people, you know, soccer players look up to you, whether it be in the Tri-Cities, there's lots of people that do, and then even at UW, people that bring their kids to the game. And now at the next level, even more eyes, as well as you are becoming a better player. And I guess, what legacy do you want to leave? Because now you're on the way to having a platform, being successful at every level, and people look up to you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just believing in yourself through anything. I feel like for me, I kind of had this, I want to play with a chip on my shoulder, prove everyone wrong that like doubted me, but my mindset really changed into, I'm just going to prove myself and the people that supported me right, that they believed in me and that I'm going to do this because I know how far I can go. So I think that's like my biggest like thing I kind of live by now. It's just like the total belief in myself that I can do anything I put my mind to. And I hope young girls feel the same way about, hey, if you put your mind to training every day and you want to go play college, like it's completely possible. Anything that you put your mind to, you can do. So I think that's kind of the legacy that I want to leave.
I love that. And
Yeah.
When did that mindset shift?
I feel like it shifted going into like my senior year of college. I knew the draft was coming up, and I've always, I don't know why, I'm like, my parents always taught me like to prove everyone wrong. But then I was like, I don't need to prove people wrong. I don't care what people think. If they don't think I can make it, I shouldn't care about those outside voices. I should care about the people that have supported me, that I'm gonna prove you guys right because you guys supported me, and I'm gonna prove myself right since I believe in myself. And that's really uplifted my game and my confidence in my game a lot.
I I love that, focusing on the positive rather than the negative,
Yeah.
as well as, I'm sorry, but being an All-American, playing at UW, holding your own, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. And what does the rest of the off-season look like for you?
Yeah, just lots of training. Just focusing on diet, recovery, training, just getting ready for next season, doing anything I can to come in as fit as I can and the best soccer player I can to hopefully get some good playing time and have a successful year next year.
Well, I look forward to continuing watching you play. Enjoy the Tri-Cities while you're here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that wraps up this week's show of The Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, The Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. You can listen to this show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for The Sports Council, and it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. You're listening to 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports programming.